Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Gamers. Today we're going to look at Zed Run, an NFT digital horse racing game. The market is currently in a downtrend, so let's dive in deep and see what's going on. For those of you who may not be familiar with Zed Run, it is a digital horse racing game in the blockchain gaming space. You can purchase and breed your own horses, put them in races, and then you can sell the breeds and you can make money off racing. It's an amazing project with an amazing outline, and I've had so much fun playing so far. If I'm being honest, Zed Run was my very first NFT love and actually introduced me to the crypto gaming space. So Zed, you always have a special place in my heart, and I will always be paying attention to what's going on, and more than likely I'll always be involved with the game in some aspect and capacity. So let's take a look at what's going on in the downtrend today and some of the issues that Zed Run is currently facing. Number one, fatigue. Zed has implemented a fatigue factor in racing, and while albeit fatigue sounded like an amazing concept before they actually implemented it, main reason being it's going to protect the smaller stables, especially the one-horse stables or the average horses, from the bigger, faster runners or the more massive stables that have a lot more firepower. So basically what was going on is they wanted to implement a fatigue factor so that the best horses are not currently taking over all of the racing space and winning every race. So, for example, you have a U-shaped horse, which means if you're not winning, you're last. The Ricky Bobby horse, if you ain't first, you're last. So it goes in a class system, class 1 to 5, and if you finish last, you class down. If you finish first, you class up. So the name of the game is either finish first or last. Basically, this fatigue system was implemented so that horses such as Steph Curry couldn't come in and win all the races, run 200 races a day and then not leave any winnings for everybody else. In theory, that makes sense. But what's going on is it's actually hurting the single stable owners or the average horse racers because they only have a chance to run their horse, a few times a day. Now, granted, they just came up with a patch a few days ago, and with this patch, you should be able to run more before the fatigue implements. However, I still believe it's a broken system, and the community's opinion of it reflects that. If the patch worked, we'd still see maybe a little bit more stimulant in the community, in the market, but the market is in a heavy downtrend right now. Another reason why fatigue has kind of hurt the game is that it's not really fun for new players to come in. So if you're a brand new player and you just spent a few $100 on a horse, even up to a few thousand, and you wanted to race your horse and you only raced a few times, and all of a sudden there's a fatigue factor, you haven't won any per se, and then all of a sudden the fatigue factor kicks in, so now you're really not going to win any, and it just is not fun. So you spent all this money on a horse, you ran a few races, and you're already too tired to run. You have to wait an extended period of time until your horse is ready to race again. I'm sorry, that just doesn't seem like a fun concept, and especially for the new people who are just now getting into the space, it's really kind of stifling. Definitely stifling the growth of the economy. Number two, they recently taken away odds. Now, I know for some people, taking away odds is probably not a reason why you think the downtrend is happening. And I would agree with that for the most part, except for when you kind of pair that with fatigue. So the whole point of taking away odds is so you can race your horse and kind of figure out the stats on yourself to kind of figure out if it's a good horse, bad horse. It's up to you to figure out rather than plugging in one of these online tools that will give you some more of the statistics. So, with that being said, if you're going to take away the odds, you cannot implement fatigue. So if you're going to take away odds to get a full picture of what your horse is actually capable of, you need around 50 races. And so if you implement fatigue, that's going to take you weeks and weeks to even find out if you have a good horse or not. So you can't have fatigue and take away odds. I know we have a new flame system. The general consensus in the community is that the flames are lame. Personally, I don't mind them so much. I would actually love to have the flames and the odds together. What's really cool with some of the older horses, before the odds were taken away, still have the odds up on some of these tools such as Haku or Know Your Horses. So that still gives a big picture on some of the older horses. Unfortunately, for some of the newer horses, it's really tough. So if you're going to take away the odds, you can't have fatigue. Personally, I would love to see odds come back, but I don't think it's such a big factor that it's affecting the market as much as we're seeing a downtrend right now. Number three, of course, the entire crypto space is in a downtrend. And we do realize that, and maybe Zed is just following that trend, but I don't necessarily think that is the case. If we get into it, we can look and see that people are selling their horses literally for a loss. So let's jump right in and take a look. We're going to go to Haku. This is an amazing source if you've never used it. Haku is probably my favorite go-to, especially as a breeder. So we're going to go here and we're going to look at the legendary horses. And for those of you who are not familiar with Zed, basically two Genesis horses, when they mate together, they make a baby that's a legendary. And then we're going to go here and we're going to apply 0, because this is the best baseline I find to see how the horse market's going, as unraised horses. So we're going to go here and we're going to just say unraised horses. We're going to go check the price and sort them from low to high. And check that out, guys. We are at 0.375 ETH for the smallest, or for the cheapest horse. And that is a huge downturn. So we went over some of the reasons why we think this might be in a downtrend. And I think it may be more than just crypto in general going down, because this is the first time we've actually seen people sell their horses for a loss. And so when people are selling their horses for a loss, that's one thing if it was a horse that's raced and you consider it a donkey, but it's another thing when you produce an unraced, unnamed foals and you are selling them for a loss. I do know if you're in positions such as myself and you do own the stallion and you do own the mare, you will get a discount, so you're technically still not selling at a loss. We're still not seeing the profits that we're used to seeing. If you're a brand new player and you only have one Genesis horse, you have to go out to a stud farm. Unless you're getting a filly, at this point you're sacrificing at a loss. All right, so let's look at this from Zed's point of view. They wanted to implement something to help the single horse racers or the new racers coming in, and in theory fatigue was amazing, and I get that. Unfortunately, it wasn't executed quite properly, in my opinion. I do think there are other options that could be very beneficial to still protect these people and let the big horses play as well. And I think that would be a race fatigue when it comes to racing the $2 and $5 races. So for example, if you race a $2 race and you win it, maybe there is a fatigue factor set for you for 6 to 12 hours where you cannot race another $2 race. So now that you're forced to race a $5 race or up with that particular horse. Now you race a $5 race, and in the same concept, a race fatigue. If you win that $5 race, maybe you shorten the fatigue. So if the $2 race was a 6 to 8 hour a 6 to 8 hour fatigue time until you raced again, perhaps maybe with the $5 race you could do a 2 to 4 hour. You can play with these factors and see what works best for the community. And then after that, let's say you've won the $2 race, you've won the $5 race, so now that you're subject to only racing in $10 races and above, and then from there should be no fatigue, and that's how it should be. If you have a horse that's in a $10 race, you should kind of know what's going on with it, and if not, it's up to you to gamble. And if you are racing against a horse such as a Steph Curry, then that's up to you to put your race in that $10 race, and you should do your due diligence of who you are racing against. So in my opinion, the fatigue factor would be great if we could implement it to racers who are only winning. So now the people who are winning, they can still race these $2 and $5 races, and then they can either cash out, wait till the next day, or they can use that earnings and parlay it into a bigger race and have even more fun. I think this opens up the gates for everybody to play a little bit more, and I think it would be a fun way to implement fatigue and protect some of the smaller stables. From that being said, let's look at this in Zed's point of view. They were keeping the racers in mind when they implemented fatigue. They weren't doing this, just to punish us. By no means. I do not think that they executed it well, and I do hope that they continue to tweak this, if not completely nerf it. But we have to understand they are on a cutting edge technology. They are the first to do this. We do, as a community, need to be very patient. We need to figure this all out together. This is the first time that anybody's come with a racing game, especially in the NFT block space. So they are literally paving the way for this new wave of racing and NFT and crypto. So, we as a community definitely need to be patient. If we're unhappy, of course, we can say our opinions of it, but I don't think it's time to abandon the game yet. Me personally, I'm not abandoning my assets. I am keeping, I'm holding. I may not be reinvesting all my earnings currently. I am actually reallocating those into Axie. I'm having a great time there. I'm enjoying employing some scholars, and I think it's a wonderful time. So I'm a little bit more bullish on Axie right now because they have a lot more new things coming to their game, and the Zed space is kind of stale right now. But who knows? If they don't fix this fatigue, we could be looking at way bigger bearish markets, we could see the Genesis completely tanking. I don't think that's going to be the case. Like I said, I'm still bearish on the entire project. I do believe in developers. I think they'll get it right. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you for giving us your time and your love and your respect. Please join our Discord. If you are into Axes and gaming, I am giving away a free scholarship I do every week. So all you have to do is join the Discord. It's completely free. We have a lot of great information there. We get out a lot of free content. And so click the link below. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.